Good day, everybody, welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made my tailgate table with a hand-milled board. I've always wanted to have one, and I looked at the cost of buying them, and in the end I decided, you know what, I got a metal brake and I'm going to build one for myself. One of the first things you got to do with any project is figure out your measurements and then kind of work with those. So I got my metal outside, and I'm going to start laying it out and try to utilize the sheet metal you got as best as you can. Start drawing it out. You got to start planning where your bends are going to be, what your overall process is going to be, because you only get one shot to do this. So I just marked out, okay, I'm going to make 45-degree cuts, and now I got my piece all cut out here and ready to stick in the bender and bend it. And here's some quick B-roll of bending up the tailgate table, planning it. It's very easy to screw it up if you own a metal brake, so you got to be very careful when it comes to bending, because it's so easy to be out by like even a 1/16 of an inch. So this was the more trickier part. I wanted both sides of my table to fold up and be matched with the same dimensions and profile. So I had to cut it, bend it up. Got a couple bolts for a hinge, and you can see it folds up nice. But for the Jeep TJ, you got the vents in the back. And to accommodate for the vents in the back, I'm using my 3D printer to 3D print some spacers that will space out my tailgate table at the back. And here it is right here, just starting the end print. That's one of the joys of having a 3D printer. So now the backsplash was looking pretty boring, just all kind of flat. So I laid out some marks. What I want to do is drill some holes. I hole sawed the holes, and now I got my dimple die and running this backsplash in the press and dimple die and everything. So you can see that turned out actually really nice. And if you've never seen a dimple die before, that's how they look. Now everything's assembled in the raw, just line it up on the back of the tailgate, drilling the holes. I am using riv nuts for this installation to make it easy to get it on and off. You could use self-tapping screws or whatever you want, but riv nuts are my choice. And the TJ makes it a little bit more of a challenge because you got all those vents in the back that you got to be working around. So mount the tailgate on the back with the bolts. Now I'm drilling the holes because I want the bottom tray to come up and to be attached by a magnet. And I 3D printed some spacers, but in the end the spacers that you see right there are too small, and I'm going to need to correct them later on. So now for the tailgate table wooden part, we went out to the woods, and Aubrey, my friend Aubrey, is setting up his Alaskan mill, and we found a nice tree that was down. So we're just going to mill off a couple slabs that we're going to use and see how they're going to turn out, because I really want something authentic to be on this tailgate table, because in the spirit of camping, you want to take part of the woods with you in your actual build. So there's the unfinished boards right there. One of them cracked, but now we're just planing it, and that'll get rid of all the edges from the chainsaw cuts. So we did mill two boards. One we squared off and one we left the live edge, and I was trying to debate which one to use. The one that we squared off just looks like a normal board that everybody else would have, so I decided that I'm going to use the board with the live edge for some authenticity. So now I'm making the tabs to hold the board in place on the bottom of the tailgate table. This is important so that you'll be able to slide the piece of wood in and out and also keep it in place. And I think those tabs are going to work out just fine. And of course, going to use the dimple die on these two to add some extra flair to make it kind of stand out a little bit. And also for your viewing pleasure, the welding clip is being played backwards because I think it looked a heck of a lot cooler in reverse than it does going forwards. So there it is. We're all in primer now before to get ready to paint, staining the board. Now I am just using a regular stain because I don't plan on prepping food on it. But also for an added touch, I put some magnets on the bottom of the board to help hold it in place. And I glued a little plastic washer up top to make it slide easier. So here it is all assembled. I 3D printed a washer right there. Rubber grommet that goes through. Dimple die in the bottom. Magnets hold it together. Fold it down. And then slide out the board a little bit. Really can only put a beer or something on there. But I put the table on a slight incline going up because once you get some weight on it, it'll pull on the tension on the strings and will flatten it out. But I like the way that turned out. I think that turned out awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it will give you some ideas for your own personal tailgate table build. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody.